The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and yes, we're still in the X Zone, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide, toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. You know, you go to restaurants today, you don't see families sitting down having conversations. You see 4 to 6 people texting. You go on the bus, people are texting. You're walking in a shopping center, people are walking into you because people are texting. What is this world coming to? Do we really need to text in order to communicate? Well, not only are they some of the questions that we ask ourselves, but an awareness has to be brought that 15 million kids are cyberbullied each and every year. And my guest this hour is going to be telling us how social media can stop it. My guest this hour, X Zone Nation, is Shawn Edgington. She is the founder of the Great American No Bull Challenge and the Cyber Safety Academy. She's the CEO of a national insurance firm and author of the best-selling book, The Parent's Guide to Texting, Facebook, and social media. Joining me now from her home in Northern California is Shawn Edgington. And Shawn, welcome to the X Zone.
Oh, thanks for having me, Rob.
You know, my hat goes off to you because, you know, this is a major problem that people really don't bring to the forefront of bullying. We hear about bullying in schools with the big guys, you know, taking lunch money and so on and so forth. But cyberbullying is kind of kept in the background. And I was wondering if you could tell me why this is.
Well, I think really if you were to go to any school and talk to them and ask them what their 3 biggest issues are today, they are going to say that bullying, and of course now bullying today includes technology, the use of technology, and it's one of the biggest problems. And for some reason, as us adults, we just never thought it was that big of a deal, even when it was happening to us when we were younger, because it was almost like it was a rite of passage. Everyone pretty much got bullied, and we knew how to get away from it. And, you know, I knew how to get away from my bully. I mean, she was on my bus, so, you know, I could avoid the bus or, you know, get off before her or what have you. So, you know, things are different now with technology, and, you know, like you said, kids are, you know, they're on their cell phone now, whether they're texting now, they're on Facebook, they're tweeting, they are constantly connected 24/7. And so if someone has got it out for your child, like they actually did have it out for my daughter, it's easy for them to do it 24/7, you know, every minute of the day, and it doesn't stop from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed.
Do you think that texting and cell phones should actually be allowed in the schools?
You know, I do. I am a huge proponent of technology. I believe that, you know, for the most of us, we all use technology
responsibly
for the positive, right? And responsibly, correct. And we use it to benefit we do research or we communicate more often. And, you know, it is unfortunate that, you know, some people use it to target, you know, their, you know, whoever it is that they fall out of favor with that day or that week or that month. And really, my goal is to help our youth really learn how to deal with that, because the problem is that it is pretty new, and we have yet to teach it in our schools how to defend yourself and how to prevent it from happening, and also what to do when it is happening. What are the steps to take? And so, that's my goal with the Great American Noble Challenge, is really a youth-led movement, so that they become really aware that they do have choices and options, and that they've got to stick up for their peers.
All right, we've got to take a commercial break. Please stand by. Yep. X-Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Shawn Edgington. Here's a couple of websites, www.noblechallenge.org and www.shawnedgington.com. And we'll be back on the other side talking about the Great American Noble Challenge here on the X-Zone as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. We'll be back in 2. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. We're talking about texting this hour, X-Zone. Our guest is Shawn Edgington. We're talking about the No Bull Challenge, the Great American No Bull Challenge. And before we get back to Shawn, I'd just like to say that, texting is even part of the media these days, because during the X Factor, they were actually getting people to text in their messages on who their favorite judge is and so on and so forth. And I kind of laughed yesterday when I found out that Simon Cowell had fired Nicole, Paula Abdul, and Steve Jones. I never could understand what he was doing there. Nobody ever knew who he was. Paula Abdul, what was she doing there in the first place? And I think the only reason Simon got rid of Nicole was because she was keeping him a little bit too honest for his like. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But really, the kicker was that the X Factor only got to the highest point of 12.2 million viewers at the peak of their broadcast last season, whereas American Idol slam-basted them on their very first show this year. So there you go. It's all a matter of numbers. But let's get back to the issue at hand, texting. All right, first of all, Shawn, what is the Great American No Bull Challenge?
Yeah, so the Great American Noble Challenge is the largest student-led campaign to fight bullying and cyberbullying in America this year, and next year it's going to be global. So unfortunately, Canada, next year it's your turn. And the annual campaign really inspires America's 25 million teens to stand up and come together to eliminate bullying from their lives. And they're going to do this by creating videos, 2 to 5 minute videos geared with an anti-bullying message. So, and while they're creating these videos, they get to learn, what cyberbullying is, what effects it has on it, because they have to learn in order to create a video. And it's a competition, a really big competition, where students will be, competing for $25,000 as just the first level prize, including a trip to Sundance Film Festival, and their video is going to be submitted to Sundance Film Festival. So, iPads, laptops, scholarships. The school gets an anonymous text-a-tip program, which, by the way, one of our sponsors up there, Guest Assist Campus, has actually got a big Canada presence. And what they do is they help schools provide tools to their students so that if they have a friend in need or that needs support, they can anonymously text a message into administration, hey, my friend's drinking, doing drugs, getting bullied, they're talking about suicide, whatever it is. It's just a great tool for kids because, let's face it, they're all texting all the time, and so it's easy for them to reach out and ask for help anonymously as well.
Well, why are we looking at this texting as such a phenomenal thing when I was going to school, we didn't have these electronic gizmos. If we needed to make a phone call, you had to wait till recess or after school, and you carried a dime with you.
Yeah, you're right. things have changed, and we have 800 million users on Facebook too. And what was Facebook 7 years ago? It was a experiment in a dorm.
Sure,
So,
but we also have to ask ourselves if Facebook really is necessary. I don't think it is.
Well, define necessary.
Well, what is
if you're talking about a 15-year-old child, they're going to say it's necessary.
All right,
it depends on who you ask.
All right, but what is the main use that the kids use Facebook for, or texting, to communicate when they should be learning, where they should be paying attention in class? And I applaud the schools that put bans on cell phones and texting equipment during class.
Well, yeah, they're not. No schools allow their students to text and use Facebook during class for the most part, unless it's like a video class, something where they're using the mode of technology within the subject matter. But for the most part, they're not allowed to do that. But unfortunately, they're so good at texting and Facebooking, they can do it pretty much blindfolded in their jacket pocket.
All right. So how do you think this challenge is actually going to change the bullying?
Well, what we're doing is we're secretly educating our students on the repercussions of bullying, and it's the long-term social and mental, effects that kids are going through as a result. Now, some kids take it to the far extreme and they attempt suicide or they commit suicide, and we're hoping to get to the kids, especially the ones that have dealt with a serious bullying situation, and see what happens, Rob, is that when you're getting bullied on Facebook. It's pretty bad because you could have 500, 1,000 people witnessing it, day in and day out. Okay, and so pretty soon what happens is kids start to think, what, maybe I should listen to this person who's telling me that I don't deserve to live and that I'm just ugly and that I'm every bad name in the book, and why should I continue on? What's my existence worth? And so what happens is when you see these things over and over and over again. I mean, you're in media. When things are written down, it's different than when it's said out loud. And, when people start seeing things written down, they start to believe that it's true.
Wait a sec. In my book, the internet is the biggest septic receptacle ever created by mankind.
Yep. I mean, it definitely.
So I don't take, I take very little of what I see on the internet at face value unless it's from a credible source.
Yeah, but you're an adult and you have that, you have the experience behind you, and teens just don't have that yet. They don't have that wherewithal and that maturity yet to go, you know what, this isn't even true. It's so what if it's on the internet? It doesn't matter.
Well,
they believe everything they see.
Well, isn't that the responsibility of the parent to make sure the child knows what they're doing before they're allowed to, to me, this is another electronic babysitter that's entered the child's life.
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. The problem is that just 2 years ago, when the whole thing came down with my daughter, who was physically threatened, her life was threatened. She was stalked on Facebook by text message. It was bad. I was one of those clueless parents. I did not know what was happening until it was just far gone, and things go viral in a matter of hours. So, and that is really why I wrote The Parent's Guide to Texting, Facebook, and Social Media, because I wanted every parent out there to realize what they need to do as far as parenting around technology, because if you don't know, you can get caught literally with your pants down. And it's a tough thing, and most parents think, oh, it's no big deal, and I don't need to really do anything here, but they're wrong, because half of America's teens are bullied using technology.
And I hate to say it, but it's the parent is part of the solution. I'm sorry, the parent is part of the problem by giving the child a piece of technology that they have not taught the do's and don'ts with.
You're absolutely right. That's one of my big things. It's kind of like handing a child a knife when they're 5 and saying, "Go ahead, cut the tomato."
Exactly.
You got to teach them how to do it. You got to teach them how to drive a car. All these things can be weapons if they're used the wrong way.
So tell me, what are some of the signs that parents should look for?
I mean, they need to look for if their child all of a sudden starts pulling back from their social activity. If they start, I could tell, like with my daughter, first of all, she came home in tears. So it wasn't like she was trying to hide it. But they're emotional wrecks when it comes to when they're staring at their phone and they're on Facebook or they're texting. Their grades slip, possibly. With my daughter, her grades did not slip, so that really wasn't a warning for us. But really, you gotta start talking to your kids about this. You've got to start bringing up the conversations and talk about other things that are happening to other kids in the media. I mean, there's plenty of stories out there, whether it's sexting or cyberbullying or safety online from online predators. All of that stuff are all things that you can talk about and use it as a life lesson for your child to understand what to do and what not to do, when they're using technology.
What are some of the preventative things or suggestions that you have for parents who may have children who are being cyberbullied, or maybe they have a neighbor whose child is being cyberbullied?
Yeah. Well, a neighbor, it could just be anywhere in the globally these days, But the most important thing is to talk to your kids about how to block those kids. I mean, you block them on Facebook, and then on top of that, really important is they need to know how to block a cell phone number. So anyone who's texting them, they can call your wireless provider, and you can block that cell phone number. And the other thing, too, is talk to your kids about standing up and reporting those who, like, let's say it is a neighbor who's getting picked on. You've got to stand up for that child, because it's very well possible that child cannot stand up for themselves. They don't have the ability to. They just can't do it for whatever reason. They haven't gone to their parents because they're embarrassed, and they don't want their parents to confiscate their technology. So it's up to our youth to really start standing up for those that are getting picked on.
Why isn't this being taught in the school systems?
Well, I really feel it's a lack of budget, and schools believe that the only way really to teach now, as far as curriculum available, is to have someone in and, like an adult in, like myself, and speak to the kids about how to use technology. And I got to tell you, I did that for a while, and I thought, you know what? How am I really that relatable to a teenager to tell them what to do and what not to do? And so, basically schools need the ability to have, they need to be able to have access to programs, education programs at a reasonable cost, so that they can teach these kids cyber safety and all kinds of stuff. Their online image, let's face it, they want to get a job, they want to go to college. Guess what? All those admissions officers and potential employers are all going on Facebook and the internet, and they're checking to see what their image is, what they look like, what's their online image. If
cyberbullying is a crime, shouldn't law enforcement also be involved in this?
Oh yeah, and they are. Had I gone to the police and gotten a restraining order on the girls that were threatening my daughter, they would have definitely gotten involved. My problem was, like most parents, is that you don't take it serious in the beginning. You just think, that this is going to blow over. These are just kids. These are girls creating drama. These girls were expelled from school, so I thought, my daughter's safe. They're not even at her school anymore. But the reality is, like I said, they don't need to be at your school. They can be anywhere. And, with technology, it's so easy to reach out and just, attack your prey that, unfortunately, my bad. You just, as a parent, you've just really got to take it very seriously and just get involved. And the police they take it very seriously. They will get involved and they will help you.
Shawn, please stand by. We've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exo Nation, Shawn Edgington is our special guest. www.nobelchallenge.org and www.shawnedgington.com. She's the author of The Parent's Guide to Texting, Facebook, and Social Media. Cyberbullying this hour here on the X Zone. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Cyberbullying is the topic this hour on the X-Zone. My name is Rob McConnell. My special guest is Shawn Edgington. Her websites, www.nobullchallenge.org and www.shawnedgington.com. What should a parent do, Shawn, if they suspect that their child is being cyberbullied or their child is a cyberbully?
Oh boy, that's a good one. So which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's go with the defensive. Let's go with the parent whose child is being cyberbullied.
Okay, first thing you got to do is you got to talk about defensive measures at that point.
Okay.
So you gotta teach your kid how to block on Facebook and on FormSpring, or depending on where this is happening, and report it to the site. All right.
All right.
That's number one. Number two, block on your cell phone. All right. You got to block the offenders. And then, depending on the situation, you might want to go into your school and talk to the administrator. I mean, does your child feel safe at school? And what's happening? Do you need to go to the police? There's so many different. Depending on the situation, the defense tasks are going to really change. The other thing is talk to your child often about what's happening, what's going on. Follow up, see if it's still happening. Depending on the age, you might need to go to the other parents. For me, my daughter was 16. I could not go to the other parents. That was not even. She was a senior in high school. It wasn't going to happen. We did go to the school, however, and they were not able to do anything about it because the girl was expelled. So, again, that was a situational a situation for us that the school administration could do nothing about it. She didn't want to drive her car anywhere because they knew that they were after her car. So, I mean, she almost was physically beaten up. They said they were gonna kill her when they found her at a certain location at a certain day, and she avoided that. And really, these kids have got to, really lean on their friends for help and support, because a lot of times they're the ones that know what's going to happen ahead of time if something like that's going to happen. So communication is king. The other thing is, before you allow your child to have access to Facebook or your cell phone, make sure you go through the rules, set your boundaries, and the consequences if they break them. I mean, anyone who's under 13 should not have a Facebook account. It's against the rules, and we've got 7.5 million children under 13 on Facebook.
I would imagine it's rather hard for the people at Facebook to police this.
Oh, gosh, it's impossible because the teens, or I should say the tweens, they're lying about their age when they make their account. And often what I find out is, I do a lot of 5th grade assemblies, and 70% of these 10 and 11-year-olds have Facebook accounts. And then when you ask them how many of their parents know they have a Facebook account, like 1 or 2 hands go up. Wow. So the thing is they have cell phones and they can access their Facebook on their cell phone. They don't need to do it on a computer in front of their parents anymore. And so their parents aren't even aware they have a Facebook account.
But doesn't this raise the question once again as to whether or not kids really need these smartphones?
Yes, it sure does. And in fact, I'm a huge proponent on another defensive measure is if you get your child a cell phone, first of all, you've got to, and they're young, you've got to eliminate their ability to send a photo or a video, because
smart move.
And it's free to do that, and there is so many. You just call your wireless provider on that, because there are so many children that end up receiving a sexually explicit photograph, like 39%, to give you an idea how many receive it. Yeah, and then also they might forward it to show someone, look what I got, or what have you, but that's distribution of pornography and illegal and chargeable. So you don't want your child to accidentally, forward, something like that, or receive anything like that, or send anything like that. So just disable it, and they can't do it.
How's your daughter doing now?
She's okay. She's still got some repercussions. One of the girls just came forward a few weeks ago and apologized and said they really needed a scapegoat for someone they want someone to blame for them getting expelled from school. And so they picked her. They came to school drunk like 3 times in a row.
Wow.
They were expelled from school, and they wanted someone to blame, and she was a class officer and a cheerleader, and she had, 100 best friends. They chose her. And, so that just kind of goes to show you that this can happen to any child. It's not, there's no stigma or, no child is immune is what I'm trying to say. It can happen to anyone and the reality is the majority of these attacks go unreported to parents, teachers, and the authorities. So, I mean, let's face it, it's something that we all need to pay a lot of attention to.
What are the kids using Facebook for?
They're using it to see what's going on with their friends, to read their status updates, to look at photographs, to watch videos, to send them a message, and
You mean these things can't actually be done in person while they're at school?
Oh, they can be done at person in school, but this is how it's, let's face it, I just saw a video last night, and it was, you don't have 893 friends. Maybe you have 4 friends, and those 4 friends are the ones that you talk to and the ones that you trust. But do you really trust those 893 friends that you have on your Facebook? I mean, let's face it, we don't know them. We don't, especially when you're a teen, it's impossible for them to know 893 friends.
But aren't the parents the ones who are actually putting the gun in the hands of the kid?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't personally condone giving a child a cell phone. I really don't. It makes no sense to me as a parent and as a former police officer. It makes no sense. You're asking for trouble. What you're doing is you're saying, all right, you can do all these things that I really don't want you to do, but you're going to do them away from home, so I don't know about it, so I'm shedding my responsibility of being your parent.
Right, and I noticed that you have a daughter as well. It sounds like she's a little younger. And I got a phone call or an email, from a parent up in Utah, and his 8-year-old daughter had received a sex request on her cell phone. And so my first question is, what does an 8-year-old girl have a cell phone for? A smartphone, clearly. And then secondly, oh my God, she got a sex request at the age of 8 from an 8-year-old boy in her class. And, if your child is too young to talk about sexting and all those things, then they're too young to have a cell phone. So if you're going to give them the cell phone, you got to sit down and set the rules and talk about all those things you're probably not ready to talk about.
Once again, we don't have to give them what they want.
And don't have to give them what they want, and especially at such a young age. I mean, and are they paying for it? Because most parents are paying for the phone and for the service.
Sure.
So, my daughter got her cell phone, I believe, at 14, which is really, I mean, the average age these days is like 11 and 12.
That doesn't mean it's right just because the average age is 11 or 12.
No, it does not mean it's right. And if you have a circumstance where you do have to have a child with a cell phone, like let's say you're a working mom, a single mom, and you have 3 jobs, and you need to get a hold of your daughter after school or your son after school, fine, then don't get them a smartphone, or get them a phone. If you get them a smartphone, then limit the things they can do on it besides just call. That's possible.
Once again, maybe I'm old school, but if you've got a child that is that young that needs that type of supervision, if you cannot be home as mom because there are so many social responsibilities these days, including paying for your kid's cell phone, then why not have the child go to an aunt, an uncle, someone who is a responsible adult to take care of the child? Because even if the child is alone at home with a smartphone, with a telephone, with a computer, a lot of things can go wrong.
Well, yeah, and what I hear is parents use it more for when their child is, waiting to be picked up after a sport of some sort at school where they're not at home with a phone. And so they don't want them sitting on the corner, if mom is late from, stuck in traffic or what have you. So it's really kind of more of an emergency type of a situation for a child. But you're right. The age is what is the right age.
You see, that to me isn't an emergency. That is a convenience for mom or dad.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely a convenience, and that's why you don't give them a phone that has ability to do everything besides make our coffee in the morning. And if you do, then you better restrict it internally. There's ways to do that. You can restrict all of their access if you feel like you want them to have a way to get to you if there is an emergency.
Well, I still say the best way to get through any emergency is drop a dime in a phone and call 911.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also a big believer of the GPS technology of that a cell phone has.
But that makes me
know.
laugh because so many people in today's society are paranoid that the government knows where they are because of the chips in their credit cards, their driver's license, this, that, and the other thing, and yet they don't realize that their telephones can be tracked as GPS location devices as well.
Oh, yeah, and that's one of the things that I warn parents, because Facebook has the ability now to check in wherever you're standing. And if you have a 13-year-old on Facebook and they're checking in when they're at Starbucks or at the local movie theater, and they have a lot of strangers in their network, which almost all of them do, then here you are showing every stranger in her network what she looks like, that she's standing alone, or where she is, and that is just, as you know, you're a police officer, that is just crazy.
All we're doing is we're inviting trouble. And
yes.
what really upsets me is that modern technology is being used by parents as electronic babysitters, and it's a way for them to, in my opinion, to shun their responsibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I think I missed that boat because my children are now 19 and 17, so I never used technology for my children to babysit. But I'm. You could be right. It could be more video games and what have you. But all video games now have that social aspect where they all connect with people all around the world. And there is so much bullying and crazy stuff happening through like Wii and PSP games. That I don't even want to talk about that. That is a whole different big mess that these boys are getting propositioned and talked to by strangers that are in another country even.
Okay, so what if I understand what we're saying to be correct is that not only does cyberbullying happen with cell phones and smartphones, but also on the games, the Wii games and other forms of technology that kids are using.
Yep, it sure does. And so, and sometimes, often parents don't even realize that these things are connected, that they're connected to the internet, and they're basically a online forum. Innocently enough, it was supposed to be where you could play whatever, chess or war games with someone, in another country or across the street. It wouldn't matter. But the reality is that there are some seriously bad things happening through gaming online, and because there's some crazy people out there just using technology to their advantage to find someone who is desperate, who will meet them in person, and who wants to talk to someone who's lonely. So don't let your child lose sight in a game. Lose sight in a game, because there's bad stuff going on there too.
What are the manufacturers and what are the providers doing to curtail cyberbullying, whether it's on a Wii game or whether it's on a smartphone?
Well, I don't know what they're doing. I think I think it's the parent responsibility to make sure that either A, it doesn't connect to the internet, or B, they've talked to their kids about allowing strangers and what to do when someone approaches them through a game. I do know that regarding the challenge, the Great American Noble Challenge, we've got sponsors like Formspring and Facebook involved in our campaign, because they do believe that bullying is a problem on social networks, and that is not what their network was built to be, and that they are 100% behind anything that has to do with teaching kids how to stand up and how to defend and how to react, and also to become just more aware of what can happen online.
So how has the response been by kids to your challenge?
It's been really amazing. We've got just, and especially the teachers too, we've got hundreds and hundreds of kids that have registered to create their video. They have from now until March 14th to create this 2 to 5 minute video. And we've got some videos in where we've got 50 kids in one video participating. And, it's a lot of them, they make you want to cry because they're just so sad. But these kids they're brilliant. They know how to send a message in a very powerful way using video. They all love using video. And so we feel like we're using the arts, in a positive way to help create change at a grassroots level. I mean, we understand that if we're going to have youth, if we want the youth to change in the way they react to bullying and the way they handle bullying, then they're the ones that are going to have to learn about it and know what to do. It's not really going to be us, hammering it down and telling them what to do and what not to do. Yes, it helps, but they've got to understand also what happens and what the repercussions are.
All right, Shawn, stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exo Nation Shawn Edgington is our special guest. www.nobullchallenge.org and www.shawnedgington.com. I don't know. I'm so happy I grew up in the era that I did.
I know. So much easier.
It's so much easier. You and I will be right back. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Shawn Edgington, www.nobullchallenge.org and www.shawnedgington.com. That's ShawnEdgington.com. You know, with the way technology is advancing, Shawn, how are we going to keep up with this problem? Because I'm sure the next generation of technology comes out, we're going to be faced with a different form of bullying.
Yeah, we are, and that's one great thing about our campaign is it is every year. It's an annual event, and so we plan on really evolving with the way technology evolves and hitting the hot points, whatever is necessary to help educate our middle and high school students on how to deal with this stuff. So, and we've really tried to make this event exciting. 15 of our finalists will be selected by a panel of experts to attend the No Bull Teen Video Awards show in San Francisco, promoted by Live Nation. So it's going to be very much a live concert, lots of artists, red carpet, and the spotlight's going to shine on these students who made films pertaining to no more bullying, and offer them a chance to win thousands of dollars. And so our goal is to continue this every year and to inspire, teens and tweens everywhere to really that they do have a choice and they don't have to deal with this.
Okay, how much does it cost a school to participate in this?
Nothing. It's absolutely free. And in fact, we provide the teachers and the students of a complete toolkit, a resource, 20-page toolkit that they can download. And it gives them everything they need to know on bullying, cyberbullying, and ideas on how to make their film, and tips and tricks, and just basically everything they need to know on how to do it. And it's absolutely free.
Shawn, it's been great talking to you today. I wish you the very best of luck. I think you've got something great going here. And let our listeners know one more time how they can contact you and find out more about the Great American No Bull Challenge.
So go to nobullchallenge.org, and you can find everything you need there. And even if you just want to download the toolkits and learn more about cyberbullying and bullying and what you can do to prevent it and deal with it when it's occurring in your school or in your home, do that. We've got toolkits for parents and teachers and one for students.
Shawn, thanks very much for joining us. Great talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care now. That's it, Exo Nation. We've been talking about cyberbullying this hour. Our guest has been Shawn Edgington. Once again, the websites are www.nobullchallenge.org and www.shawnedgington.com. That's it for tonight. That's it for this week. It's Friday here in the X Zone. I'll be back Monday at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. So from everyone here and to everyone out there, always remember, help each other out. You are your brother's keeper, and always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.